Hey, it's Pam from Ben McFuzzyLugs, and today we're going to have a shot at making an emperor penguin. So starting on the beak, just about a quarter of the way up, I'm just making a few wraps in a red or orange wool, making it thicker in the middle and narrower at the bottom. And then for the rest of the head, we're just covering the whole of the front and the back of the pom-pom maker in black wool. Nice and simple here. And then we're going to tie off the wool just by tucking under. We're not making a knot, just tucking some of the free wool under, and then closing the pom-pom and tying it off. Cutting it, then tying it off, obviously. Now, if you haven't already, check out my review of these scissors, because to make these pom-pom creatures, one of the most important things is having good, strong scissors. And then we're just going to take some of the wool and tie it a few times through the pom-pom maker, and where we're finishing up, we want it to be the bottom of the head, so it's below where this beak's going to be. And then just removing the pom-pom from the maker, and we're going to use just the exact same maker to make the body, which basically going to start just over halfway up the maker, and I'm using my thumb to stop the wool going too far and make a slightly more blunt end towards the top, and then winding down almost all the way to the bottom of the maker. Now I want this to be fatter in the middle and fading off at the bottom, because we want a kind of ball shape to the white, but I want it fatter more towards the top than towards the bottom. You'll hopefully see why in a minute, because we have more colours to add. Now I'm diving in with some yellow wool, and what we're going to do here is come off just a couple of lines off the bottom of the white, and then overlap up the white, just literally with a couple of wraps of yellow all the way. And it doesn't have to be precise, but just a couple of wraps and then tie it off. And again, I'm going to come in with some orange and do exactly the same thing, just come off a couple of wraps before where the yellow starts, and then overlap with a couple of wraps all the way up the yellow. As we can see, the yellow didn't go quite as far as to the fattest point of the white, and we're just taking the orange up about as high as we went with the yellow. Now you could, this orange colour was the only colour I had, you could go with a brighter orange to get a more cartoony feel, but this is just the one I had. And then we're going to dive in with some red and do the exact same thing, wrapping a couple of wraps off the bottom of where the orange is, and then overlapping up all over the orange. And this makes almost a kind of rainbow shape, obviously, in the colours. This is something you could do with lots more colours to make an actual rainbow pom-pom. And then tie this off just like all the others. And what we're going to want to do is, for the rest of the maker, this is all going to be filled in black. Just both the front and the back, so the body of the penguin is fully black. The pom-pom maker here I'm using is the Fluff Ball Weaver. If you haven't already had a look, I've got a wee review of that in my review video, so check that out. I find it really good for the money. It's not the best made thing in the world, but it's a good cheap price. So once both sides of the weaver, the Fluff Ball Weaver, I love that name, once both sides of them are full, we're going to close off the pom-pom maker and cut it, and then tie off with some more black wool. When I'm doing a complicated pattern, this is always the exciting bit. When you cut it, does it look like how you imagined it to cut? It's like the magic. You open it and it looks pretty good in this case. So the same, we're tying off, and we want to leave the final loose threads where the top is going to be. So this is basically where I made the red. Now if I was doing this again, I would tie even slightly further back than I've done, so putting the last knot behind where the hinge of the weaver is, just because where the head goes on, I've brought it a little bit too far forward so the orange doesn't show up as nicely as I'd hoped it would. But overall the pattern's sound and it does look kind of cute already. So if there's any fibres just gone into the wrong place, I just fluff it out, move everything where I want them to be, bung the head on top and just tightly secure it by tying the two loose strings together. And if you were doing this project with children, then this would be an actually really good place to finish. It looks like a penguin. It's really kind of cute, but there's been no felting or no difficult steps yet. But what we're going to do now is just needle felt the beak together. Now, actual emperor penguins, the orange is just on the underside of the beak, so you could just make a black and red beak, but I just decided it was cuter having it all the same colour. And what I'm trying to do, I'm thinking of a diamond point here, which is why I'm pinching together the bottom and trying to felt sort of straight lines to give it a sharp edge. It's not that easy, but I've certainly found it's best if you pull down the black as far away as you can so you can felt in deep into the base of the orange fibres rather than try and felt them together at the top. It's much easier at the bottom. And then all we're going to do is, apart from the beak, trim everything here until you've got it to a nice smooth shape. The more you take off, then the smoother, almost like chenille, this gets to be. So just keep trimming until you're happy with it, taking off a little bit at a time. Also, again, make sure it's really good scissors you've got, because they just are far more precise. And then once you're happy how it's trimmed, we're going to have a go at making the wings. So I'm given about 15 wraps of wool around 3 fingers. You could actually make it bigger here, or if you've got smaller hands than me anyway, but I would suggest maybe around 4 fingers, or just be a little bit looser around your fingers to make even longer wings. But I think these guys turned out pretty cute. And now to make the wing hold together, I'm just very carefully felting between my fingers. This causes the fibres to mat together and hold into a flat shape, but be careful with your fingers here. If you haven't already, check out some of my videos on the basics of needle felting. But this is actually a great way to start giving you the feel for needle felting. And I was totally surprised at how easy this acrylic wool felted together. I thought I might have trouble and might need a cotton or a proper expensive wool, but actually just the cheapo acrylic that I think I got these from Asda probably, but just cheapo acrylic wool, and it felt fairly easily. But as I say, just watch your fingers, make sure you just felt straight through, in between, sort of alongside your fingers, but not actually touching your fingers. And then just separate his head from his body and felt in the wing nice and deep to where the wool's sort of the densest packed. It's going to have more to catch hold onto there. So that's his wings on, just tidying up his beak if needs be, but it looks good as it is. So you can felt as much or as little as you want just to make that look better. But then we're pretty much done. All we're going to have to do is glue in his eyes, and that's it. So thank you so much for watching. What's your favourite type of penguin? So if you have a shot at making any of my penguins, please let me know. Come back every Thursday for more needle felting videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.